and then we'll get rocking and rolling as usual. And excited about today's content. We've covered some of the stuff in the past, but we're going to add some new jazz to it today. Right now, I feel like I'm a radio jockey, Jaime.
Hello, everybody. Let's see. Give me one
Coming
quick
to you
second.
live.
We are getting connected over here. Agent Lead Source Podcast coming on live.
By the way, as you're tuning in, let us know where you're tuning in from. I just dropped some information Jaime and I will probably talk about on this podcast. And it's quite interesting. Here comes Jaime. Bring them on camera. Jaime should be getting added in just a moment. I think he just has to flip his camera. There he is. Facepalm.
Give me 5, Joseph, right there.
There we go. High five. Bang. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome Jaime. Again, as you're tuning in, let us know where you're tuning in from so we can see your beautiful faces and comments and know where you're coming from. Jaime, you want to go ahead and tell everybody where you're coming from? We always let everybody know where we're coming from our end of things.
Absolutely. So Jaime Resendez coming at you from Dallas, Fort Worth, technically Crowley, Texas, if you know where that's at, a little bit south of Fort Worth. It's almost 9 p.m. here, and Joseph and I had a miscommunication. He clearly forgot that we changed time zones here in Texas. So that was good.
Yeah.
That was good. But we're making it happen.
Yeah, for everybody who doesn't know, I am tuning in from Singapore. We don't have the daylight savings time. So we live near the equator, which means that it is always the same time. We don't lose sun very much. We don't lose daylight very much like you do in the United States. So we don't have that time shift. So we are now 14 hours difference rather than 13 hours difference. So I was sitting here going, man, is Jaime sick or is he in a meeting or what's going on? Are we going to have our call? Did he ghost me? Anyway, so that's what's happened. So we're excited to be here to present the information today that we're going to be presenting. I think a lot of you are going to make some money off the stuff we're going to talk about today. So Jaime, you want to jump in and tell everybody what we're talking about?
Absolutely. So welcome to the Agent Lead Source Podcast. We are on episode 18, believe it or not. And it's actually more than that. So you shouldn't believe that because there's some lost episodes. A lot of that has to do with we did not know how to record early on because we had not hired our producer, Pat Patterson. So that's our bad, but we are here. Technically, it's episode 18, how to get leads with Facebook today. Not yesterday, not tomorrow, but today. So that's what we're going to be covering today. We're going to cover a lot of the free strategies because we get a lot of questions in regards to how do we get leads for free. Obviously, that's the holy grail, right? But we're also going to cover some paid strategies just because we want to be as complete as possible because some people either have more time than money. Some people have more money than time. So it's funny how that works. So Joseph, just some quick shout outs as everybody starts hopping in here. We see Hector from California. We have Lance from Boston. Shoshana from Atlanta, Georgia. So welcome everybody.
Shoshana, it's been a while. Live. I haven't talked to Shoshana in a long time. I'm glad to see her face on here.
Yeah. So if you want to be part of the fun, just remember that we go live on Thursday nights, the Agent Lead Source Podcast. Either check us out on YouTube. So just this is actually on my YouTube channel, Jaime Resendez, or go over to the new Real Estate Agent Group on Facebook. So that's where we broadcast live. And also, if you're friends with us, you're going to see us there as well.
Yeah.
All right. So Joseph, what do you think about our topic today? I think it's going to be a good one. How to get leads on Facebook today. Is it possible, you think?
I think so. I think I already proved it. I proved it right before the call, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I think that's a thing that people, hopefully the people that tune in and watch our podcast will understand, is that the information that we're providing to agents is not about theory, right? It's all proven methods. And the idea behind this podcast is to teach people how to make more money, obviously using paid strategies, but also figuring out how to use, as you stated earlier, how to use free strategies. And as Jaime and I were talking about this, I write down notes and as we're talking about things, because Jaime and I feed off each other really well, and we hope that you enjoy this, by the way. But I said, here, let me prove to you how I can make money today on Facebook, and I literally showed Jaime exactly how I do it. And that's what we're going to talk about today, is how you guys can use Facebook to get more leads today, and not only leads today, but money that's going to turn into money tomorrow. So, Jaime, to answer your question in short, I'm super pumped, obviously.
He's not kidding. I wish I could share the strategies, and this is he made a believe. I knew already, but he just said, "Hey, let me just make a little bit of money real quick." And
Yeah.
oh boy, was he right. So anyway, we're taking that knowledge. So maybe next podcast, this is a good teaser, right, Joseph? Maybe next podcast we'll let people in on the little secret, but probably not.
Yeah. But probably
So,
not.
yeah, there. I throw out the teaser and immediately take it away. So one of the first things that we want to talk about when we're looking at getting leads on Facebook is working your sphere. Now,
Yeah.
before you click away, hear us out. When we're talking about working our sphere, we've heard it everywhere. As soon as you got into the industry, hey, work your sphere. Get the list of everybody that you know, everybody and their grandmother, and give them a call. Hey, I'm now in real estate, and trust me with your largest asset in the world. So obviously you're going to be more tactful with that. However, since we're talking about social media, for those of you that don't want to get on the phone and make calls, this is the best avenue for you. We're talking about Facebook, and to get more tactical outside of just saying, hey, do social media with your sphere of influence, to get a little bit more tactical, friend everybody in the world. It's so non-threatening. It's expected. Even somebody that was 3 years younger than you in high school, they expect to have your friends request. If you don't, they think that something's wrong with you. So you can absolutely friend everybody in the world. That's step one. Step two is engage with them. Absolutely engage with them. You don't have to have in-depth conversations with every single one of them. You don't have to tell them your life story. You don't have to tell them about your successes, your failures, or anything else, but just have a connection with them. It can be something simple as a like, as a comment share, as a comment, or share some of their posts. Basically, be social with them. They absolutely love that attention. You as an entrepreneur, you thrive on that, because that's your business. If you're doing social media in the manner that Joseph teaches, in the manner that I teach, then you're used to having engagement with your posts. However, people that are not in sales, they don't always have that like, they don't always have that comment, they don't always have that share. So step one, add everybody and their grandmother to be your friend, and then also engage with them. That's how you start working your sphere in a meaningful way.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I think a lot of people make it really difficult, right? They're like, well, how do I engage with people? Do I just go ask them if they want to buy or sell a house? Yes, that's one way. That's not the way I would suggest. But one of the things, Jaime, as we talk about engaging with Sphere, is just understanding what do you like as a human. You like people telling you happy birthday. You like people saying, hey, that picture you just posted looks great. You like people saying, hey, congratulations on your new job. Like those type of things are the things that help engage, right? And keep people connected with you. And a lot of people, I think, are worried about trying to get the sell too fast versus knowing that real estate is a long game, right? Over the course of your career, if you can close 100 transactions, you should never need business again if you're doing the things that we talk about in regard to staying engaged with your community, right? Somebody buys a new car, if they buy a new house, you definitely want to send them a message and be like, yo, what's up? But anything that they're doing that's exciting in their life, having a new baby, all these things, you want to send a message. You want to like the picture. You want to like the picture and then send a message. I feel like that's probably the best way to stay engaged with people, because reality is we don't send mailers like we used to. And when I say mailers, I mean like, hey, how are you doing? Hope your family's well type messages. Now we just text message, or we phone call, or we like a message, right? So in my opinion, those of you who are watching this now, I'll give you an example of what to do. I want you to go to your Facebook right now, and Facebook tells you who has a birthday. I want you to go on there, and I want you to send everybody who had a birthday today a message and tell me how many people respond back, right? And that's the difference between those who make money using social media and those who don't, right? It's finding those little things. Or open up your page, scroll through and see who's commented on something that's not currently the election, and send them a message, say, hey, thank you so much for your post. I'm so glad it wasn't about the election. It'll lead back to the election, but at least, or thank you for posting something positive. It's just like those small things that engage people. And then later on, you can talk about real estate and all these things. But that's just one of the ways I think, Jaime, to stay engaged with your sphere of influence, right? Or I guess several different ways.
No, for sure, for sure. And something else, and you know this more than I do. So if I get over my skis at any point, feel free to tell me. But when we're talking about engaging with when we're talking about engaging with other people on social media, it helps you in the algorithm as well. So
Yeah.
when you're commenting on their post, when you're sharing their post, well, there's a connection that's being made. So Facebook is seeing that and acknowledges, hey, Joseph probably wants to see more content when it comes to Jaime.
Yes.
So, oh, so
Yes.
Jaime posted it in a group that they're in or whatever have you. I know I get those notifications whenever Joseph posts, and on some of those he doesn't even tag me. So the Facebook knows us so well that just knows that, hey, you might be interested in whatever Joseph is talking about. Very much the same thing with you. So when you have conversation, again, it doesn't have to be meaningful. It doesn't have to you don't have to find every single detail about the other person. You just have to
Yeah.
establish a connection. And when you're commenting on other people's posts, when you make posts just in general, when you bring it back to real estate, then guess what? Other people will see that organically. And at that point, it's welcome at that point because people like to reciprocate the love. People love that aspect of, oh, okay, so I can contribute back to this person whenever
Yeah.
I put that ugly picture of my dog. They absolutely loved it and shared it. Now this Jaime is putting an ugly picture of this house, so let me just go share that and help this person out because I know that they're on commission.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I think that brings me to one of the tips that I used to tell agents whenever I used to do coaching every week. And one of the things that we used to talk about, and I used to tell people, and they didn't believe me until I showed it to them, right? And that's usually most of the stuff that I do. Like people are like, that doesn't work. And then I show them live. I'm like, okay, here's an example. I'm going to go post something about the election right now because that's a hot topic. By the way, that's a tip for those of you who are watching or listening in. A hot topic. You find the hot topic. Go to YouTube. Find a hot topic that's popular, whether it's slightly controversial, and you have to be careful on what you're going to talk about. But you post about that hot topic, and then you let people start commenting. The trick is this: after you've got all this engagement, as Jaime was talking about, all these people are engaging, and you're engaging on their stuff after you've engaged on a lot of their stuff for a week or so, or several people's stuff. Whenever you post a highly engaging piece of content, guess who's going to see your new content? If you're talking about a house, if you're talking about a house you just sold, if you're talking about a buyer looking for a particular type of property and there's none available in the market, guess who's going to see that? All those people who engage. So I'll give you an example. This week I posted two extremely hot topic things, right? I think one of them was like about the election. Both of them were about the election, but related to real estate, right? Like, hey, why are we sitting at the closing? Why is the United States sitting at the closing table so long, right? Who forgot to get the funding docs or closing documents correct? And then hundreds upon hundreds of comments or likes were on that. So guess who's watching this right now? People who have engaged in that. I can see their names because I remember faces and names, and I can see those people have already come to this live. So that's an example, ladies and gentlemen, of what Jaime was talking about. Post engaging content, engage with other people's content, and guess who's going to see it, especially if they're in your local market, right? And that helps you build your sphere, a stronger sphere and stronger relationships with people. And it's just micro interactions.
Absolutely, absolutely, and I like the fact that you brought the word in micro because that's something we used prior to the call. We were talking about some other ventures that we have going on, and we were talking about how tiny things add up. In our previous, right before we went on, we were talking about money and about microtransactions, but here it's no different. You're making micro deposits into the relationship. You don't have to have an absolute. You don't have to hit a home run every single time. Very rarely does anybody do that, but it's that micro deposit into the relationship that's going to pay out in the long run. So that's I think a lot of us get very impatient. You know, there's oftentimes, I guess this is more therapeutic, Joseph, where I speak more to myself, where we just become so I become very, it has to happen now. It absolutely needs to, and it absolutely needs to work. So just not allow time for the process to fully develop, and that becomes a little bit dangerous when you're trying to play that long game. So you're trying to
Yeah.
hit some shortcuts, you can, if you come on super strong, especially the strategies that we're talking about, and just really try to amplify them to an unnecessary level, then get ready to be blocked.
Yeah.
It's like that
Yeah.
person that just continues to text or call back the ex-boyfriend or ex-girlfriend that's just not over it. You don't want to be that. You don't want to be in that situation. You want to be that person that absolutely just
Yeah.
ruins the relationship because you came on super I guess clingy.
Stronger than five sprays of cologne. You don't want to be that strong.
I would
Just
not
one
know
or two.
anything about that, Joseph. I would
Just
not
one or
know
two.
anything about that.
Just one or two squirts will do the job. Yeah. The micro relationships are important. I think a lot of people forget about the micro relationships and how you start relationships, right? It's you don't start relationships by going 100% like, hey, you know what? I saw you. I'd like to marry you now, right? Even if that's like for love at first sight, that's not how you do it. You court the person, you get to know them, you have conversations, right? And or nowadays you like their Instagram post or whatever you do these days, right? It's the same thing on social media for business, right? It's the same thing for business. So yeah, Jaime, I'm glad you brought that up. Don't come on too strong, right? Just do enough to stay in front of them. Somebody said, Virginia, did you see Virginia's comment?
No, what?
She said, be the first squirt of cologne. Love it.
Well, let's talk about being first, because you bring up a great point. You don't have to hit the ballpark. We literally, we were just talking about this, where the statistic is what 70% of the so NAR put out the statistic of 70% of the agents are selected. Basically, the first agent that they interview, aka they don't interview, they just meet an agent. Hey, do you want to sell my house? Boom, there it is. So 70% of the people, I think it's something like that. It's either 60 or 70, or right in that ballpark, where the first agent that they speak to, they go with. So you don't even have to come in aggressively. You just have to be there. You just have to be around. And you're already
Here's my name tag. Yeah, here's my name tag, by the way. I sell real estate. Right? It's not.
Sorry, man. We're starting to lose viewers, Joseph. We need to reel it back. I'm sorry. Joe, we're agents. We can make these jokes. Let's dig back into the comments. Tammy, welcome. Win the house you love. Joseph, we have a mega star on YouTube. They're absolutely blowing up. Win the house you love. That's a great YouTube follow. They have 30,000 subscribers at this point, last time that I looked. So we're doing big things over here.
Yeah.
Awesome. Let's transition into the next one before we lose all of our realtor audience.
Yeah, we'll get. Do you want to enter? Let's answer Tyler's question really quick, and then we'll go to the next thing.
Let's do it.
We have Tyler's question here. Tyler's question is, how can we move people to your page? I guess he's meaning the business page versus personal profile, meaning instead of friending on personal, but get them to the page instead of the personal page. Well, here's what I'll tell you about that, Tyler. Over the last 3, 4, 5 years, Facebook has been deprioritizing. I don't know exactly how to say that. But they have deprioritized Facebook pages. Facebook pages are typically just for paid ads. The content you can put there, it's a waste of time, in my opinion. Don't shoot me.
100%.
But I would rather, Tyler, get them to a Facebook group than to a Facebook page. By the way, if you're looking for somebody who knows how to do that really well, he is not a sponsor of our thing. He's a good friend of mine. I've chatted with him in the past. Marty Human does a really good job of teaching you how to create highly engaged Facebook groups. But your business page, to be honest with you, Tyler, is not going to be the place to send people unless you're trying to build an audience to retarget with Facebook ads. That's really what it's going to be for. To get people to your group, you're still going to have to use your personal page. There's no other way around it unless you're spending money or you have a large audience for your email newsletter or making phone calls and getting people's emails to get them to that point, right? Circle prospecting. But other than that, Tyler, I would caution you from trying to get everybody to your page unless you're trying to build a secret audience, which we talked about last episode. And try to get people to a Facebook group. I don't know if you want to respond to this question as well.
The exact same answer. The only thing that I would consider, if you don't want to go down the group the group route, again, the resource that Joseph mentioned, Marty is really good at what he does there. So
Yeah.
that would be a great follow if you're looking
Yeah.
to leverage groups. So, and Joseph himself is a really good follow when it comes to the group as well. So he knows what he's talking about with cultivating those. But the only thing that I would offer up, if you're not ready to go down the Facebook group route, meaning managing and trying to get an engagement group going, then friend them. Friend them. We have 5,000 friend limit. And I
Yeah.
suspect, I have no way of knowing this, but I suspect that count is going to go higher. And I think that
Yeah.
at this point, there's so many people that have maxed out their friend profiles that
Multiple
to
times.
have 5,000 people is quite a bit. So now they hit the follow button. So friending
Yeah.
them on a personal, building your brand, and then you can just pivot wherever you want. Let's just say, not that anybody here is looking to get out of real estate, but if you're in real estate and then you add something else in addition to what you do, you can easily pivot if you have it on your personal, like you are the brand. Wherever
Yeah.
you drive the attention, that's where it's going. Because sometimes, whenever going back to actually another downside to Facebook pages is you're not always going to be able to change the name of your Facebook page.
Correct.
Facebook regulates. They're the ones that decide, hey, you wanted to change real estate agent Facebook page, you wanted to change that to how to knit, just an extreme example. They're not gonna allow that. So they actually decide, they have the final say on, hey, yeah, Joseph, go ahead, you can try to change that name, but it's just Facebook has the end say in that. So if they don't allow it, then they won't allow it. So that's another downside.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, Facebook controls all your stuff, especially on the business side of things. That's going to make the money, which is pages, mostly in ads. So your personal page, there's a lot more leniency there based on obviously what we've seen, crazy stuff on Facebook. So I highly suggest utilizing your Facebook page to grow that Facebook page to your maxed out audience. Hopefully you grow it to mostly local people, because those are the people who are going to be buying and selling houses that you can obviously make money with and build those relationships with. But yeah, as Jaime said, definitely use your personal page to do that.
For sure.
All right, Jaime.
For sure.
On to the next topic now that we've answered that question.
Let's do it.
Thank you, Tyler, by the way.
So the next topic is one that we need to get out to the people ASAP, Joseph, because we've been talking about this strategy for quite a while now. You more than me, admittingly. So I consider you the godfather of this strategy, the Facebook Marketplace strategy that has really been successful with lead generation, and especially in a free capacity for real estate agents. But there's been some major changes in regards to Facebook Marketplace. There was major changes 6 months ago when you had the ability to post as a business page, and that was super cool. And I made an amazing video about that on YouTube, but now it's obsolete because of, I'll let Joseph fill us in on the major changes there.
Yeah, so what has happened is after the C word happened, Facebook has gone into this, and because of the election, Facebook has gone into this extremely stringent monitoring mode. So anything that has to do with housing, anything that has to do with rentals, anything that has to do with credit, anything that has to do basically with anything that's revolving around real estate, they are starting to ding people and not telling them why. So we've had, I think, and I'm very upfront about this, right? Because this is one of our main places where our agents make a lot of money, is the marketplace. That we've had probably 10 to 15 accounts temporarily blocked, and then they've come back. And so what we've done is we've gone to battle, if you will, with Facebook and said, hey, give us reasons why. And Facebook doesn't give us reasons why. What we've narrowed down is there are two things that have caused this. One is the election, and one is the C word, right? The pandemic. And then the other thing that is starting to happen is they're saying you have to match your titles with the offer, meaning that your pictures, your title, and your offer all have to match. Now, we are very careful right now. Like, we've paused everything until the election is over, completely over, hopefully. But at least now that ad spend is stopped for political spending, because there was $1 billion spent, right, in advertising. $1 billion. There's no way you can compete with that. So even paid ads increase. But anyway, back to Marketplace. Because of the stringency that Facebook has imposed on everything, we've really dialed back down what we've been doing and posting just a couple of things to make sure that we're protecting everybody's accounts that we can protect. So doesn't mean it's not coming back. You just have to be willing to know that there's some inherent risk right now, and you need to go read the policies and procedures in depth to make sure you're following the rules. So if Facebook ever says anything, you can reply back like, "Can you show me?" Because there's nothing I posted that actually infringed upon the policies that you're talking about. And usually your account will come back within 2 to 7 days of what it takes right now. But
Yeah.
it's worth it because we have people that have made over $100,000 from Marketplace, right? So you got to balance there.
So
Hopefully
to
answer
put
your
it,
question.
no, it does a lot. It does a lot. So I'm actually going to go back for a second so we can move forward. The strategy that we're talking about with Facebook Marketplace, you can deploy several different strategies, but one of them involves you leveraging a house. So you leveraging a
Yes.
house that either you're listing or one from your broker, one from another agent that you get written permission to advertise. It's no different than you running one of the campaigns that we're going to talk about with the ad portion of our podcast today. But you take a property that's, let's just say, is just listed. You took on the listing and you're going to market it on Marketplace. You're going to put that property on there and you're going to put some descriptors on there, a little bit about the property, how many rooms, the square feet, and all that fun stuff. And then you're going to invite people to direct message you. So again, it's no different than an ad, except here it's absolutely free. So it just requires a little bit of time on your part to put this on Facebook Marketplace. Now, the beauty that Facebook Marketplace has is that it has access to so many people, but also whenever you post on Marketplace, right before you go to confirm the listing or the post, you can share that in as many Facebook groups as you want. You can put that in real estate groups all across the country. I wouldn't advise it, but you can put that everywhere else you want. So you don't have to post this same post on 10 other groups. You can just go click, confirm, and you're off to the races. Now, what Joseph is alluding to is become a little bit more strict, actually considerably more strict. So you want to make sure that you're deploying this strategy. How I would advise it, just a little bit scaled down, because what I used to teach was, hey, post 5 a day and move on to the next day. But right now, I actually wouldn't even push it that much. I would post what you absolutely need to, just the listing, and then refresh it the following day, refresh the following day. But if you're trying to do this en masse, as you were once able to do it, you run the risk of getting suspended, getting blocked. Now, what the radical change that happened probably a year ago when it came to Facebook was new accounts could not post on Facebook Marketplace. That was one of their first, filters to the bots, filters to the spammers, filters to the scammers. But now they've gone to another level of, hey, I don't care if you've been on Facebook since 2007, we're going to shut you down. Yeah,
it's quite interesting, right? Because even if you run a legit business, right? You're a real estate agent. They will still block your account, but you have to know what to say to them to get it unblocked, right? And a lot of people don't know what to say, because the first thing they do is they freak out. Oh my gosh, my Marketplace is gone, guys. It's not that big of a deal, right? I mean, you're selling couches, right, or whatever. But you just have to know what to say to them to get it unblocked. Now, another thing that they've done, and we haven't dove into this as a business yet, but we're starting to look at it, Jaime, is they've now allowed you to have what they call a business profile, a marketplace profile. Your marketplace profile is slightly different than your normal profile. Your marketplace profile, you can actually have catalogs of things for sale. So let's say, for example, you have multiple listings, you have several things that you want to put on Marketplace. You can actually do it under categories now. And that's how a lot of people are starting to get over this whole scenario of just posting in regular Marketplace. Now you can start doing a little bit different stuff than it used to be, right? Because they took away services years ago whenever we had 3,000 people doing this in a day. But
Whenever
So
you
anyway,
shut that down, Joseph, is that what you're trying? Whenever you shut that down for
whenever we shut,
everybody, is
whenever
that
we
what you're
shut,
saying?
yeah, shut down services for everybody within a month. But yeah, but now there's, and we'll talk more in depth about that. But yeah, just my thing, as Jaime said earlier, is just caution everybody: don't post 5 or 6 different properties in a day. Take your time, make sure everything matches, make sure the pictures match, and you should be okay.
Awesome. What Joseph, we have a comment that it has to do with our previous strategy, but I think it's important to pick it up here because this question gets asked quite a bit. Is it okay to post something on your business page and then share it to your personal page, or should you just skip the business page and only put it on your personal page? What do you think?
I think that goes back to our response to Tyler. It's if you are trying to grow your secret audience, your audience for retargeting and Facebook ads, then certainly go ahead and share it from your business page. But if that's not something that you're into, or if that's not something you're planning on doing, I don't think there's really a reason to. I mean, you can post the content in both places, but I wouldn't share it from my business page to my personal page because you actually get less credit whenever you share a link, because technically it's a link. That post is technically a link from Facebook to Facebook. You don't get any. You actually get dinged for sharing links. So I would highly suggest that you make the post as organic as possible, meaning that you recreate the post on your personal page, unless you are trying to build an audience to retarget with Facebook ads. That's my personal opinion on it.
That's fair. I'll give another perspective. It's
Sure.
I was about to say it's similar, but it really isn't. Um, the reason that I would suggest or would give the advice of sharing from Facebook, the business page, to your personal page would be to have a defined area for your business and then have a defined area for your personal page. It just depends on what type of content you want to post on your personal page. If you want to keep it personal, whatever have you, whether that's
Yeah.
if you want to talk about politics, if you want to talk about family, if you want to talk about whatever's going on,
Sports,
and
whatever.
then
Yeah.
exactly. So if you want to infuse a little bit of business and bring it in through the business page so people know that you're in business and what type of business you're in, that's when I would suggest that you do it that way. But if you don't mind posting, like you're saying, if posting organically, where it just you replicate it from there and over on business page, that works as well. And then lastly, kind of going full circle and agreeing to your point, if you're trying to build up that secret audience, then it makes sense to post it that way. There's no right, wrong, or there's no right or wrong way of doing it. I would err towards Joseph's strategy of if you're doing it with intentionality of building your secret audience, absolutely. But if you're doing it with the intention of reaching as many people as possible, then go organic because you don't want to get a few points knocked off for doing the
Yeah.
links.
Yeah, your engagement just goes down. It's essentially what happens. Whenever we're talking about points like Facebook points, we're talking about engagement, right? Like Facebook's not going to give you as much credit for doing those things. So yeah,
For sure.
do as much organic as you possibly can because it's going to just help you get more engagement over time.
Now, Joseph, I know that the podcast today, so as a quick reminder, if you're listening to us on Apple Podcasts, to go ahead and drop a 5-star review. If you don't do, if we have not earned a 5-star review, then don't review us. We don't want your reviews. Please withhold. We don't need a 4. We certainly don't want a 1. But nor do we deserve one, to be honest with you. But anyway, if you're on the podcast, absolutely please drop a 5-star review. It really does help us out. We are trying to break into the top 25 when it comes to the category that we're in. So really is going to help us a ton. So really do appreciate that support. So the Agent Lead Source podcast, share it with an agent that is struggling, or even if they're killing it, this works for them as well. And actually I would argue it works better for them because they're going to implement it and really blow it out of the park. But I know that the topic today is how to get leads on Facebook today, but I want to talk a bit more and elaborate on the Facebook marketplace strategy on how to actually convert. Because one of the big things that you're going to find with the Facebook marketplace is, one, it works, but two, it works almost too well, where you get a lot of people commenting. and it
Yeah.
can be a little bit frustrating where you get buried with success. You get buried with a lot of the conversations, and just to be honest with you, a good amount of those people are not going to be able to do business today. It's
Yeah.
just not going to be. It's not going to be a thing. Either they don't have the credit, they don't have the down payment, they don't have social security card, whatever the case may be. There's just going to be some challenges that you need to overcome, and there's going to be some people that just don't message you back. So
Yeah.
full circle coming to what I'm talking about with conversion, you want to engage in a conversation. You don't want to vomit absolutely every piece of real estate knowledge that you have, and you certainly don't want to lead with the question that I don't know why we do this so much, Joseph, but are you pre-qualified?
Mm,
Who the hell knows what a pre-qualification is, and why would I
yeah.
even tell you that? I
Yeah.
just saw a property and it looked nice. You were saying that it was just listed. I just want to see more pictures. Why
Yeah.
in the world would I? No, no. So
Yeah.
just have a conversation. Before I go off the rails, Joseph, I'm going to throw it back to you because that really is a pet peeve.
Well, I agree with you. Right. I am all about um, figuring out where people are, but not so blatantly. Right. We use a strategy. We've used a strategy for years. It's very simple. Right. It's like somebody comments on the post or sends a message. Hey, I'm interested. Cool. Hey, just use your name, Hyman, since we're on the call. Hey, Hyman, thank you so much for messaging me. My name is Joseph Gonzalez with XYZ Real Estate. Are you interested in buying a house this year? It doesn't have to be this house, right? Are you interested in buying a house this year? Yes, I am. Fantastic. Is it okay if I ask you a couple of questions? Yeah, that's cool. Cool. Um, uh, we usually ask about 2 or 3 questions. So one is, are you interested in buying a house? Let's gauge if they are. Yes. 2, great. Do you have time to chat today? I want to get them on the phone, right? Like that's what all real estate. I want to get everybody on the phone. Okay, fine. You can talk to everybody. Not everybody's going to be ready to buy a house. Do you have time to chat today? Yes, I do. Great. Here's my phone number. What's yours? I can have phone calls all damn day. Like there's no doubt about it. Like that's like a number one strategy to get on phone calls. The problem with that strategy is that now you don't know if they're qualified or not. But my argument to that is that's your job. That's what you're supposed to be doing. You're supposed to find out where people are. You're supposed to be building relationships with people to see if you can help them. And if you can't help them, who do you have to refer them to so that they can get help to get to the point that they're helping you now by buying a house? And I think that's one of the biggest factors in this business is most people want right now business, and they want people who are going to be the golden goose every time. And ladies and gentlemen, if I knew how to do that, I promise you I would not be on this podcast with Jaime right now. We'd be in our private jet flying somewhere else where it's pandemic free. And right. So I think that's the part where agents get really mixed up is they don't want to do their job or hand that off to somebody else to do that job that they don't want to do. So my point there is, yes, you have to make sure that you're ready to do the follow-up, as Jaime stated earlier, because using the marketplace, you're going to get so many freaking leads that you're not going to know what to do. And so we're just giving you strategies or giving you several strategies to know here are the issues with it, but here's how you overcome it. And here's what you should know that you're doing in your business if you're going to go that route, right? So, I mean, yeah, you'll talk to people all day long, but it's a question of, are you willing to help them, right? And in the long run so that you can get business from it. Like I'll give you an example, Jaime, and then I'll stop talking about this particular point, but we had several agents this year, but one of them just posted, they talked to somebody on Marketplace 2 years ago. The person just bought a house. I think the house was 250 or 350, right? 2-year process. Not saying that they didn't do other business in between, but that relationship is a 2-year business relationship, right? And that relationship is going to evolve into more transactions if it hasn't already. That person wasn't ready to buy for 2 years, but now they bought. Another example of that is somebody talked to somebody that has given them 4 referrals from Marketplace. That 4 people have bought a house. That person still hasn't bought a house. So the point of this is, yes, a lot of people may not be ready, but that doesn't mean they don't know people who aren't going to be ready or that they're not going to be ready someday to make you $7,000, $10,000, $20,000, right? Whatever that comes out to be. So just keep that in mind, folks, as you use Marketplace.
100%. And I like the referral example that you gave, and not necessarily example. It's something that's happened. So
Yeah.
the referral where I wanted to take that aspect or connecting with people. Again, they may not all be ready to go. Actually, many of them won't be ready to go, but who's to say you aren't adding to your network, right? Who's to
Yeah.
say you aren't adding to your sphere? When you have a conversation with somebody, either you get them on the phone or they're just more comfortable chatting with you on Messenger, you establish some sort of rapport. It may not be the strongest in the world, nor does it need to be, but you establish a relationship of some kind.
Yeah.
Friend request, and boom, you have them on your theoretical pipeline. Hopefully at some point they see your post, but they'll be reminded and are automatically added to your network. Let me rephrase that. When they're added to your network, they're going to be automatically reminded what you do. So that's somebody
Correct.
that is another
Correct.
pipeline. There's pipeline management through your emails and your CRMs. That's fantastic, but very rarely do we go back to our messenger. And there's times where I scroll all the way back to 2019. Who is here that I can have a conversation with? Who is here that I can help? And also, who's here that can help me? So I'm not pretending to be altruistic in everything that I
Sure. Sure.
do, because at the end of the day, I need to make some bread. But when it comes to going back on Messenger, it's your email, it's your database, it's your
Yeah.
phone, it's your phone catalog. People are having more conversations on Messenger than actual texting at this point.
Correct.
So
Correct.
scroll all the way back, see who you can re-engage, because it's like you found a dead lead. And if you're doing the marketplace strategy, you're going to find a lot of people that you at one point
Thousands.
communicated with that was
Thousands.
not ready 2 years ago, but
Yeah.
now with a little bit of re-engagement, boom, you have somebody that is 60, 90, 120 days away.
Yeah. So, Hyman, one of the points that you made that I think people that may have just kind of slipped by people is that one of the things you said was you're having this conversation either outside of Facebook or inside of Facebook Messenger, and you talked about growing your network. One of the things that I think, as you said that, it made me think about this is anytime you add somebody as a friend on Facebook, you should go in and comment, "Hey, Hyman, thank you so much for having the conversation today about real estate," right? Like you just slip that in about real estate. Really glad to add you to my network, and I'm looking forward to helping you at some point down the road, right? What's going to happen is their friends, as you tag them and then they reply back, are going to see that, right? It's just like a little micro like interaction, but it makes a huge difference. And not just getting that one person in your network, but now allowing their friends to see who they're engaging with as a real estate agent. And that might send them a message and say, "Hey, tell me more about Hyman. How do you know him? Where can I talk with him?" Right? So just understanding those little relationship builders, right? No, you can't. It's my agent. But yeah, those little things will make a huge difference in growing your overall network by utilizing other people's network. And most people don't think about that step. So I'm glad you kind of dropped that in there, but I just wanted to add on to that.
No, 100%. And something else that I'll add on top of that, right? So I'll raise your bar.
Raise.
Yeah. See if you can top this one, Joseph. So just going through, sharing with you the reason that we started the podcast, there's many, but one of them was to show you how the sausage is made. One of them, we do what we preach, and then also just give you some behind the scenes of what I would deem two successful entrepreneurs, what we do in our business. So just completely going to throw it out there. So if you're on this podcast, or especially if you're doing this live on the Facebook group, here's something that you're going to have experienced if you haven't already. So we have a loyal tribe that follows us on Thursday. So thank you so much.
Yes,
if you commented here, or if you like this page, what you've noticed in the last weeks, again, this is if you've done this, if you've been watching us and commented and liked this page for the past couple of weeks, you will have received a message from me. Very much the same strategy that we're talking about here with you and home buyers and home sellers. You will have received a message from me. And I'd like for anybody that's here, I haven't seen the comment section too in detail. We have had quite a few comments. So if you received a message from me, then feel free to raise your hand in the comment section to prove me right. So this is what we do as well, to build a connection at some point. And it's a mutually beneficial one. I'd like to think that we're providing some value here, and I'm not asking you when I send you a message, I'm not asking for a credit card information. I'm just
Yeah.
acknowledging, hey, thanks so much for checking checking us out on the Agent Lead Source podcast. For us, what we're trying to do is cultivate a community and grow the podcast, because that's how we help more people. So
Yeah.
as you receive this message, and you'll probably call me out whenever I send this to you tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
That's what we're doing. That's exactly what we're doing. Building a relationship, getting in the DMs in a good way. And now you see kind of why we're doing what we do.
Yeah. It's, and I think that's a good point, Jaime, like telling people, by the way, thank you for making that point. Like the stuff that we talk about, we actually implement in our business, and we give you this information because we know it's going to make you money, right? It's going to build relationships, which is very, very important in the process of helping people to make money. So as we talk about these things, it's not difficult stuff. It's just taking like, Jaime, that probably takes you what, 10, 15, 30 minutes to send everybody a message that watches or likes or engages with this.
Yeah.
Right. And now whenever they come on, they're going to see our faces, know who we are. If we talk about anything, right? Like, hey, this is what we're doing in the future. If you want to be a part of that, feel free to engage us. We're not hard selling people. We're just like, here's what we do. Here's how we make money. Here's how we build relationships. Do it, please, because it's going to help you and your family. So we definitely do what we preach, for sure. Right.
Boom. Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely. So as we go into the other strategy that our topic today is how to get leads on Facebook today, not yesterday, not tomorrow, but today. Now, one of the gasoline on the fire moments is with Facebook ads. We can't do a Facebook podcast without mentioning that. Now, we're not going to spend too much time here because we've covered the topic in previous podcasts quite extensively in different aspects. And we know, if you've been a follower of this podcast for a while, you know that where we're going to start with Facebook ads. We're going to talk about new construction. We're going to talk about that strategy where it's absolutely crushing it. So I and Joseph, actually, we work with builders. So we work on both sides of the coin on that. So we work with real estate agents to bring buyers to builders, and we work with builders directly. So I know that there's my builders in Houston, there's my builders in Austin, there's my builders in Ohio that we're running similar style ads that we share with you when it comes to Facebook ads. So the reason that we like the new construction, especially in today's market, is because there's a little bit more inventory. Actually, there's a lot more inventory. In most markets right now, it's absolutely red hot or white hot, whatever you want to call it. So it's a little bit harder to get your buyers into a home. So you have a surplus of buyers, you don't have anything to sell them. Now with new construction, that lot on 313 was not available, but guess what? 314 is. So you go to the next one, and also you have most builders, at least more production builders, they have incentive programs, not only for the buyer, but also for yourself, where you do the 3+1. So that means 3% plus 1, 3 plus 2, including 3 plus 3. So the compensation is considerably higher in some markets, just depends on where you're at. So new construction, going back to the point that I was trying to make with Facebook ads, it's something that you absolutely need to add to your marketing campaign. If you want the ad copy that is absolutely crushing it, just on Facebook, if you're on Facebook, go ahead and comment ad copy, and I will DM you the exact ad copy that's getting leads for, without exaggeration, for 50 cents.
Yikes,
and
that's crazy.
This is getting silly. It's absolutely getting silly. It's more than a game at this point. So if you're on Facebook, type in ad copy, whether you're watching it now or in the replay, then do that there, and I will DM you the ad copy. If you're over on YouTube, then go ahead and email me, because it's hard to do that on YouTube. So if you're on YouTube, just email me, Jaime at JaimeResendiz.com. If you're on the podcast as well, please just email me, Jaime at JaimeResendiz.com. I'll drop it on the chat, and you'll see it on the show notes if you're on the podcast.
Love it. So Jaime, let's talk a little bit more about these Facebook ads and just the builders in general. This is the time, ladies and gentlemen. If you want to make some money from new construction, this is the time to make the money. And let me break that down a little bit for you. A lot of you will be like, man, but how do I go build these relationships with these builders? I don't have any houses to sell. I don't have anything to market right now. It's pretty simple, right? You go into these builders and you're like, hey, I'm going to start running $300 a month in Facebook ads. I'm getting leads for 50 cents, or the strategy you can, if you haven't done it yet, the strategy that I'm going to use gets me leads for 50 cents per lead. Do you have any homes on the ground that you need to move that I can market? I don't have to put your name on it. I just need the permission to use the pictures. And when they say yes, now you've got stuff to go sell. You've got homes to go sell. And the other part of that not a lot of people talk about, I think I'm one of the few people who actually talk about this, because I don't know why people don't discuss this in detail. But homes during the winter are usually discounted. I don't want to say discounted, but they're lower by up to 20%. Not only that, the point that Jaime hit earlier is because the homes are a little bit lower, I believe that's the best time to buy, because that's when people are not buying, right? That's technically discount season for me. I'm going to go buy houses in the winter because I can get a sale for up to 20% off. And if I have my license, as Jaime stated earlier, some of these builders will give you up to 6% commission, right? Up to 6%. So you're making 2 times the amount of money and selling a product that is the same quality for 20% less. Let me say that one more time, just in case I got across anybody's head, that went over anybody's head. You are selling the same product for up to 20% less, and you're making at least 100% more, 50% more than you would normally make. So 2 times the amount of money that you would normally make, right? So 20% less product. The price of the product is 20% less, and you're making 2 times the amount of money. Tell me that's not how you make a lot of money. Like, that's like the easiest sale. Who wants, hey, James, thanks for commenting or sending me your information about new construction. Did you know, or would you like to get on a call and talk about how you can buy a house for up to 20% less than it normally costs? That could be your intro text message to the person who is a lead, right? Like, hey, Jaime, thank you so much for sending your information about the new construction houses. Hey, you want to jump on a call and I can tell you how you can buy a house for up to 20% less? And then tell me you won't have calls lined up for the freaking entire month of November and December. You will make more money, I guarantee you, in November and December if you use the strategy that I was talking about, and running new construction Facebook ads if you have new construction.
Absolutely.
All right, I'm done. I'm done for the day.
Well, I love that. Well, don't be, because we got no strategy. Actually, this may be it, but it just depends how Pat's feeling. But what you're doing there with building the curiosity is something, one, that's great marketing, obviously, but 2, you don't have that flexibility in, we're going to call it the resale market, because that's what it's called, or the market that's not new build. So you don't have that flexibility over there. With new construction, you can cut it every which way. You can cut it when it comes to commission if you want to. I know we get a little bit suspect when we're talking about buyer rebates or buyer concessions with your commission. So I'm not trying to dig into anybody's pocket, but just putting some reality into that. You can also, the negotiation piece, you're a real estate professional, right? So I'd like to think that you can get things done. You can get things included. You can get appliance packages included. You can get blinds packages included, because believe it or not, a lot of the new builds don't come with blinds. So you have to get those taken care of. Exactly. So you have all of those, sorry, just, I'm receiving this text that there's apparently there's a real estate lead generation that's trying to sell me a real estate lead package. So Joseph, you know who I am.
great. We should bring him on the call live so I can
exactly. Hey, please sell me this service that you got my contact information from LinkedIn. Hey, you know what? We should do a LinkedIn podcast next week as I see that and I trash these people. That threw me way off, Joseph. So when it comes to cutting it every which way, you have the opportunity with new construction. That's the reason that you're a huge proponent of it. That's the reason I'm a huge proponent of it. We've talked about it in all of the episodes that we've talked about anything. We've brought up new construction because there's a huge opportunity there that we are missing, and we need to stop that. There's some money there to be found. There's some people that you can help. There's some builders that you can build long-term relationships. I know that we work very hard to get on the investor Rolodex, if you will, at least the serious investors, not the ones that claim that they are. But
Yeah.
we know that with builders, especially once we sell enough of their homes, then guess what? The listings actually follow with certain builders. There's some that have the sales agent always there in the model, but with smaller builders that don't put a certain amount of homes on the ground, they're looking for a high quality listing agent that sells their homes. So that's something that you absolutely need to look into.
Yeah. You got a ton of people, Jaime, by the way, commenting ad copy. That ad copy is about to get sent out to the masses. So that should be fun, Jaime, for you to see how many leads if people actually utilize it the right way, how many leads to see and how many closings come from that by the end of the year. I think that'll be very fruitful for those of you that have construction. So, Jaime, thanks for sharing that ad copy.
Absolutely. So again, just DM ad copy. I'm sorry, you just comment on Facebook, ad copy. I'll be able to DM you there. If you're ever on YouTube or listening to the podcast in the future, Jaime at JaimeResendez.com, and I'll make that available to you. So you'll have my email there. Joseph, let's shift gears, because I know we mentioned that we were going to cover the paid strategy just very briefly. Yeah. So I want to honor that. So let's jump back into the free strategies, because I think that's where we find a lot of value, especially for our audience. Yeah. When it comes to a free strategy for lead generation, we talk a lot about Facebook groups. So with the limited time that we have available right now, Facebook groups, where do you want to take the Facebook groups? Because there's really so many different ways to leverage that the lead generation. Because we can rattle off 10 strategies on this podcast, but then it'd be 3 hours. So
yeah. Well, I'll hit on it as quickly as I possibly can here. There are several strategies I'm discussing. One thing that you can do is you can go try to buy Facebook groups that are already created, which is a very good strategy. If you don't want to do that, you can go partner with the owner of the Facebook group, especially if it's a large Facebook local market Facebook group, or for sale by trade or whatever garage sale group. Partner with them, say, hey, I'll pay $20 a month to allow me to post in here 2 or 3 times, a month or a week or whatever that relationship looks like. Or does that price sound good to you? And then from there, then you can start going into the Facebook group and actually posting what I call client attraction post, right? Something very simple like, hey, who's tired of renting? Would you like to buy a house going into 2021 or by Christmas, right? That's one of the strategies that we use. It's very effective. Again, it's like marketplace. Not everybody's going to be ready to buy, so be ready to have those conversations. But Jaime, that's if anybody is looking to get leads today, that's a strategy that I would use like right now to get leads, to have people ready to buy in November.
That's perfect. That's perfect. So just reiterating what Joseph mentioned, because I know that this is a relatively new concept for a lot of the listeners. When it comes to buying Facebook groups, a lot of people are unaware that you can actually do that. You can buy Facebook groups. So these groups that have 10,000, 20,000, 100,000 people in them, there is a price. There is a price that people are willing to let the group go for, because either they don't want to manage it anymore, they've never been offered that, so they're going to go ahead and cash out. So it's still early enough to where you kind of have to educate the group admins to do this, especially in the real estate space, just depending on where you do it. So it's still early enough. I'm not saying you're going to be the first, because this has been a while for a few years now, but it's still early enough to where you're going to be able to, let me rephrase that. You're going to have to educate the managers or the admins or the founders to, hey, this is what's happening right here. So you can either buy it, or you can do paid posts, sponsored posts on Facebook groups. And it can be any group that you feel is going to do. It's going to have the audience that you want. It can be a mom's group. It can be a buy sell garage group. This is basically Facebook ads, but you can do that from a split testing standpoint of, I did a sponsored post here, it failed miserably. So you can do it like that. Or you can go into the absolute free strategy of just posting within their guidelines, you can post in these groups and have those attraction posts. You're not going to be able to go as direct because the admins and the moderators will absolutely strike you down if you break the rules, but you
Yeah.
still build that brand awareness if you craft that ad copy that Joseph was mentioning, or that post that Joseph mentioned. You are going to be able to get away with making that post in several groups and several large groups without having to pay anybody a dime for it.
Yeah, you can even do things like weekly Friday, weekly, real estate questions. So you can be like weekly real estate question. Every Tuesday I post here to answer your weekly real estate questions. Comment below and I'll be sure to answer them via a video reply or via text reply. But I want to make sure that everybody's informed on how to buy real estate or how to sell real estate. And so you can just start building that relationship every week. You just have to be consistent. Go in there and do like a weekly real estate Q&A. Drop your questions down below. Right, until the admin comes in, it's like, hey, you can't do that. Like, hey, can I pay you to do that? Right? Like, there are ways to build a relationship. You just got to get attention. And if you get the admin's attention and you massage that relationship, you can definitely roll that group as far as real estate agent relationships are concerned.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And you can also leverage other real estate agents. So
Yeah.
we love referrals, right? So
Yeah.
referrals are a great way to build your business, and you'd happily pay somebody 20, 25, 30% referrals if it's somebody that is ready, willing, and able to buy on that spot. So at that point,
Yeah.
I mean, you'll gladly let that go. And
Yeah.
the way that you leverage that is through Facebook groups as well, where you have you join these referral groups. There's some massive referral groups that all they do is post referrals. So you join as many of these Facebook groups as possible in moderation. You don't want to join 20 in a day, because that's a good way to get put into suspension by Facebook. So Facebook jail. So just moderate yourself. At least join no more than 5 a day, and you're going to quickly have joined all of the ones that are worthwhile being in. So join these groups, turn on the notifications, and dig in there. Every time that there's a post, just pop in for a quick second, see, is this in Dallas? Oh no. Okay, well, okay, we're good. So just either you monitor it or create a little cohort of 3 agents, 4 agents, 5 agents, a little pod where, all right, so you are on Mondays. Anytime somebody posts on Mondays, I'm in Dallas, you're in San Francisco, we have Atlanta, we have Chicago, we have New York City covered. Anytime somebody posts on those 5, your responsibility is to tag the agent that works that market. So that way you spread out the love. So at that point, you're only managing the notifications once a week. And you are not only looking for Dallas, but you're looking for San Francisco, you're looking for Atlanta. I forgot the city, so I'm going to make them up. You're looking for Chicago. You're looking for New York. So that's a way to magnify and help others. And it quickly builds a meaningful referral business into strategy that you don't need to spend more than 30 minutes a day, even 15 minutes a day, if you're really effective with your time.
Yeah. I think it's fantastic information for sure to offer.
Alrighty. So let's see. I saw some questions, Joseph. Let's look at this real quick.
Yeah, I was trying to answer them in the comments as they came. I don't know if we want to go over them with our voices, with our radio voices.
The I am getting word from Pat that we are over the 1 hour mark, so we do want to get the dismount going. Let's just dig into one question, and then we'll do the dismount. Does that sound fair?
That sounds fair.
Alrighty, so let's see. Essentially, we're offering to market the home at our expense with the purchase. Okay, so this is a good question by Christine over here on Facebook. And as a reminder, everybody that is listening to the podcast, join us. Come hang out with us Thursday nights. We're going to be over on Facebook. We're going to be over on YouTube. So just hang out with us. We'd love to interact with you. Any questions, bring them to the table and we'll absolutely address them. All right. So back to the question, Christine. Essentially, we are offering to market the home at our expense with their pictures, and we are the point of contact. Is that correct? Is the question. Christine, yes, you are using your own resources. And if they will let you use their pictures, absolutely, you're going to leverage their pictures. I personally like to take my own pictures, just given the how I like to present the property. If I can do a little brief tour as well, I'll go ahead and knock that out, because there's many ways to use that video. You can go live on Facebook, so then you have content for stories for your Facebook and Instagram. You have content for your YouTube channel if you're leveraging YouTube correctly. Um, so anyway, yes, you are leveraging your own resources. Ideally, you want your own pictures and your own videos. You don't have to. And then you do need to be the point of contact, because the last thing you want is for somebody that was made aware of the property or the builder, thanks to your efforts, to go directly to the builder and forget to put your name down as their agent. So the moment that they omit your name, unless you have a very strong relationship with that builder and that sales rep in that office, don't count on a commission check going your way. So just be aware that you do want to be the point of contact. So with the new construction, I know Joseph teaches this, and I know that I teach this. Speed to lead is extremely amplified, because you do need to be that point of contact.
Yeah. You also, so yeah, Jaime, I think, thank you for hitting the points on what the situation is. But the other thing that you need to do is be great at educating your buyer, right? Like, hey, Jaime, I know you're probably going to visit some of these houses because our time may not work out sometimes, but please let them know that you do have a real estate agent, because the effort that I'm putting in to help you, that's the only way I can get paid, right? And they're going to tell you all these things that some of these builders will tell you things like, hey, if you don't use your real estate agent, you can actually save money. And at the end of the day, that's not true. They're not going to, right? You want to educate them on that process. So that whenever they get asked, do you have a realtor? The answer is always yes, right? So a lot of agents don't educate their buyer on that and don't emphasize the point because they're scared they might lose the buyer. But reality is that's your whole job, is to educate them. You're the facilitator of the deal, right? Facilitators help facilitate and help the buyer understand what's going on. So, yes, market the properties, yes, do all these things, but make sure you're the point of contact and you help your buyer understand why. And if you do that, you won't lose deals.
Absolutely.
You might still lose some, but you won't lose as many.
Well, and I'm glad that you brought that up, because it can get a little bit dicey or a bit uncomfortable if you're talking about your commission, if you're talking about what your role is. It's dicey if you don't, because at that point it's, all right, why does Joseph continue to call me? Why is he emailing me? Why is he texting me? All right, folks, we're in business, and whether your buyers know it or not, they need to know it. They need to know that if you're part of this transaction, that you're going to receive commission, and intuitively they're going to realize that. But if you hide that or doing everything possible to dance around the commission and why it's so important that they put your name down, it's going to come a little bit, that big game that everyone's playing right now. Oh gosh, what's that? Among Us. Have you heard about Among Us, Joseph?
No idea. No idea.
That's gonna be a little bit sus. So for my folks out there, if you're playing Among Us, add me.
No idea what's going on.
Oh man, I have 11 nieces and nephews, Joseph, so I have to figure out what Among Us is. So you don't want to be sus. For those of you that get that reference, there you go. But anyway, yeah. So just having that conversation, Joseph, as we transition into the dismount. I wanted to talk about really emphasize either you have time or you have the budget.
Yeah.
You can do both if you want. You can do free if you want. You can do paid if you want. At the end of the day, picking a winning formula or picking a formula, it doesn't even have to be winning, is what it's about. If you're going to focus this next 60 days, if you're going to do a 60-day sprint with only free strategies, then see it through. We're not misleading anybody. We're saying that when we're talking about free strategies, be ready to have conversations with folks that may not be ready. Just be ready. Not only with free, but also with paid. But if you're going down the free strategy, then just be prepared for that to happen. So have a conversation lined up or a way to get into conversation and build a relationship with them. Ultimately, you will be able to pull them out of Facebook into homes, but just just be aware of that. So if you're going to go in the free strategy, then focus on that. If you're going to go in paid,
Yeah.
focus on that as well, and really work on the back end on how you have the conversations and how you can actually convert. Because we've mentioned this in several podcasts. You don't have a lead generation problem, you have a conversion problem. And I think all of
Yes.
us do at this point, because social
Yes.
media amplifies our voice, and it's never been easier to connect with anybody on the world today. So take advantage of that. So that's
Yeah. Yeah.
that's what I want to show for the dismount. Joseph, what do you want to share with the people?
Yeah. No, I think that's perfect. Whatever you pick, do it. Do it for the next 60 days. Run as hard as you can with it and work on your conversions. I think that's perfect message. Work on your damn conversions. Stop trying to generate leads. If you're generating, excuse the language, hopefully we don't get strikes for cursing. If you generate a shit ton of leads right now and you're not closing deals, that's your fault. So work on your conversion. That's all I got.
Joseph, I'm gonna need you to compensate me for the AdSense that we just lost on YouTube.
You can beat that up.
Yeah. All right. So Susan Wojcicki, CEO of YouTube. Sorry.
Love you.
Yeah. Yeah. Just hey, put us on the trending page. Anyway, this is gonna go off the rail very quickly. So we have a huge announcement for you next week, everybody. So we're
Yeah.
gonna call that into being. We've really been working hard on this. So I'm really excited for the next venture that we have going on. It's going to be a natural addition to what Joseph and I are sharing with people. It's really a movement that we're trying to create. So we have a huge announcement for you next week. We really want you to be here on Thursday. So we'll make sure that everybody is aware that we're going to be going live. So check us out. If you're over on Apple Podcast, then absolutely drop a killer 5-star review. We absolutely want to hear from you. If you want the ad copies, then just rewind. We won't do the pitch again, but just rewind and reach out to us in that regard for the new construction ad copy. This has been episode 18, how to get leads on Facebook today. So go out there and get those leads.
Make your money, folks. Thanks. We'll see you on the next episode.
See y'all.